Life is for living now.
Beautiful. Well, here we are. It's September, our month of divine order. And I was so inspired. I love the Olympics. I love watching the Olympics, summer, winter, whatever. I just love it. And I don't know if you know this, but every summer Olympics, every 4 years, directly following the Olympics is the Paralympics. And so this year in Paris was the Paralympics. And I read this story about Matt Stutzman, who competed amongst four other armless archers and won the gold medal. So what they say here is competing in the Paralympics archery, Matt Stutzman showed it is possible to hold a bow with one leg and pull the bowstring back with his jaw. Hold on to the tension and potential energy and release an arrow with enough accuracy to win the gold medal. I love that face of him realizing he just won the gold medal. Think of this athlete to train, and all athletes train, but there's no way you could look at this person and say this is not an athlete. But he's obviously had to face some limitation, yes? Armless is one of those things most have to deal with. What limitations do we have? It might be, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, I'm too tall, I'm not too smart, I've never been able to master the piano or the guitar. Whatever our limitations are, we can overcome, just like Matt Stutzman. So we celebrate him today. Now, looking at this on the spiritual perspective, which is what we do on Sunday, went to Reverend Christian Sorensen. He's a Center for Spiritual Living minister, and he says the difficulties we find ourselves in are simply opportunities to bring forth spirit in a greater way. Don't dwell on your difficulties. Let's say that again. Don't dwell on your difficulties. Concentrate on wondrous ways. Put spirit first in all things. Is there anyone here that does not ever have any difficulties? Just checking. Anyone here occasionally have difficulties? Okay. I'm in the right place at the right time with right people. We are here together and we're going to learn how to overcome. Does that sound good? So what kind of limitations do you have? Anyone want to share a limitation?
I have a limitation with patience.
Oh, it might be impatience. Yes, good. Anyone else? Yes. Slowly learning, which calls on some of what is missing here. Patience. What else? Yes. Ah, it is sweet to get to complain, but it can be a limitation. Anyone else? Yes. Ah, I don't know if mine's Irish. I'm part Irish, but I know that temper very well. Yes, they can be physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental. Our difficulties, our limitations. But we're learning to overcome so that we're not stuck with complaining or impatience or just not getting it fast enough. It's all right. We're all in this together. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder of Unity, looks at it this way. Make friends with all your adversaries quickly, whether they be persons, thoughts, or things. This is calling us to, like Christian Sorensen was saying, let's befriend those difficulties. Let's open up and quickly. Now, it's not a difficult stretch to look at our limitations and our difficulties, our challenge as adversaries. They're certainly an adversary to our joy and our love and our peace, yes? And these can be with other people. Have you ever thought, gee, my life would be so much easier if there weren't other people? Maybe for a moment. Or thoughts. Anyone been baffled by the thoughts that keep you awake or keep you from making a decision or challenge you? And things. How could a thing bother us? I don't like that fence the neighbor put up. I can't believe that atrocity. Oh, do you see what they're going to do to my street? 400 speed bumps. We can choose to overcome and come to peace with what is. If there's a speed bump in the road, you can either speed up or you could slow down and ride the hump. Yes? Now, I'm not against speed bumps. I think they're a good idea. Just examples. So, this is an issue in our lives. And what we need to do is remember that God's presence is always available to us. It's an inside job. Yes, God is everywhere present, but where we have communion is within us. And it's not going to be our brain center. It's not going to be the source of the flowing of thoughts. It's going to be a little lower. It's going to be our heart center, where we commune with that presence that's always within us. We have that installed, Christ's presence, as soon as we're born. And it's with us always. It's eternal and unchanging. So we make friends with any opportunity, and lo and behold, we can be an armless person that has the goal to be an Olympian and train. That's overcoming. That's not letting limitation have the keys to the car. From Scripture, 1 John chapter 5, verse 4. For whatever is born of God conquers the world. Our faith is the victory that conquers the world. Now, the world that we're talking about here is not planet Earth. The world is the world of all that we have made. What begins in time ends in time. And we've created a whole bunch of stuff, from the mystery of 8-track tapes. I have no idea where they are. I haven't seen one for years. They're just vanished. To all kinds of stuff. Our homes are filled with stuff. The yard sale down the street is full of stuff. We have cities full of stuff. That's the world. And we are not going to find our wholeness, our peace. We're not going to be able to overcome anything if we focus out there. It's an inside job, so we focus our faith on that magnificent presence, the mystery. It's a beautiful, beautiful mystery. And in that silence, we receive the guidance. We get a knowing of the next step. There's no lack in God. And we can either stand in the presence, shaking with our limitations and difficulties, and feel stagnant and have no control, or we can bust out and accept what is. And no matter what my limitation is, I can still breathe, live, teach, listen, eat, explore. I can overcome my doubt. I can overcome my fear. I can overcome my impatience, my complaining. I can open up to grace. Jack Kornfield, an incredible meditation teacher. He's given me so much by listening to his teaching. Wonderful books. He says, there is no hardship and no difficulty that enough love cannot conquer. No distance that enough love cannot span. No barrier that enough love cannot overcome. This is what we need to do. We need to go to the ultimate love. God is love. And that unconditional love is the strength that faces any fear. It's the strength that has us move beyond our temper. The limitations that hold us back are just a blip on the screen. If we love ourselves enough in our pure and unconditional love of God, we can face anything. And we have faced many things. We're survivors. We have a lifetime of people who didn't meet our expectation, that hurt us or abandoned us. We have lots of stories. All the life stuff. And we can overcome even the story. We may have created quite a groove telling that story because we got a lot of sympathy or a lot of, oh dear, can't believe you had to go through that. I was talking with Marianne this morning, and we were talking about our shared love of poetry and how I had written poetry. When I was in the 4th grade, I got some awards for writing a poem. So I wrote lots of poetry when I was young. And they were dark poetry because I worked through all the pain and anguish of growing up. They were dark. And when I was 18, I had a radical turnaround in my life. From my limitations, all of a sudden, I was Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof. And I went from not being known by anyone, from everyone in my high school knowing who I was. And then I was elected by the teachers Student of the Year. So much for me being a wallflower. And I had all this poetry that was pain and anguish. And I had two pen pals that I wrote to. So I was writing to them saying, I want to burn this stuff. And they're like, go for it. Because they knew the journey I was in. And so I had a ritual and I burned it all. And I've never regretted. Because I don't want to read all that pain. Love can transport us from the pain and anguish to peace and joy and balance. Overcoming. Norman Vincent Peale. Oh, I love this man. When I lived in New York in the 80s, I attended his church. And he didn't know it, but he was a unity minister. He only talked about love and the power of prayer, and he just I loved him. Anyway, so if you don't know who he is, he wrote a book, The Power of Positive Thinking, that swept the nation and was read by many, many people. And it basically said, what you think, what creates your reality? So why don't think about positive things and have a positive life? He says, stand up to your obstacles and do something about them. You'll find that they haven't half the strength you think they have. This is so true. Fear can seem so real when it's right here. But as soon as we step back from it, it can't hold a candle to the love that we have, to the power and presence of God in our lives that is there. And if we call upon God, God is there. So whatever we're facing, God has the answer so that we can approach life a little kinder, a little more open, a little more at peace. But it takes standing up to them. Do you think Matt Stoltzman would have become Olympic gold medalist? He said, maybe I'll shoot an arrow. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. If it never went any farther than that, he wouldn't have done it. He had to stand up with conviction and say, I am going to do this. And we can do that whether it's a broken relationship, a diagnosis, or just simply having a day that's not as good as it could have been. Standing up, being fully present, accepting what is, and then taking a step forward. That's overcoming. So our personal exploration this week is focused on this. And so I'm asking you to join me. The first thing when we're facing any challenge or limitation is visualize your goal. What do you want? And it could be not a thing, but a feeling. I want to feel safe. I want to be 10 pounds lighter. I want to find my way into a different way of working. I want to let go of my impatience, my complaining, my judgment of how fast it is for me to learn, and my temper. Then ask yourself, what's limiting you from having that goal? What gets in the way? Is it some old thought? Is it something someone told you a long time ago? And then 3 is take some steps towards your outcome. Our fifth unity principle is we need to take what we know and we need to apply it. We need to live it. We need to be it. So this is take a step towards it. Make the call. Write the letter. Choose the exercise plan. And then this last one is one we forget to do so much. Celebrate your progress. You don't even have to be anywhere near the end of your goal. You can celebrate, I did this today. I exercised today. Good job. I found I was a little more patient today. I was only angry for a minute, and then I let go of it. Celebrating, we are a work in progress. The destination is living this life today. And with that, we can overcome anything. Thank you.